The galactic summit hall stretched before Alexander like a cathedral of chrome and starlight. Holographic banners from 1,000 worlds flickered overhead, each representing civilizations that had mastered faster-than-light travel before humanity had discovered fire. Alexander tugged at the collar of his diplomatic uniform, feeling desperately out of place. He was nobody special, just a junior translator from Earth's newly established diplomatic corps, assigned to document proceedings he barely understood. The summit was addressing the void breach crisis, a tear in space-time threatening to consume entire star systems. Every major civilization had sent their finest minds and highest dignitaries. Alexander had arrived late due to a malfunctioning transport pod. Now, scanning the amphitheater's curved rows, he searched desperately for an empty seat. The assembly had already begun. A Krillian ambassador, its crystalline body refracting light into rainbow patterns, was delivering an opening address through neural translation. Then it happened. A hand delicate, pale, unmistakably human wrapped around his forearm. Alexander froze. He turned slowly, his breath catching in his throat. Queen Lyrastine of the Solthari Empire looked directly at him with eyes that held galaxies. She was legendary, even among humans who knew little of galactic politics. The Solthari controlled a third of known space, commanded technology that seemed like magic, and had existed as a civilization for over 40,000 years. Their queen was said to be immortal, having ruled for 3 millennia. And she was holding Alexander's arm. "Sit right beside me," she said, her voice carrying a musical quality that made universal translators seem crude by comparison. Every eye in the amphitheater turned toward them. Alexander felt the weight of 1,000 stares, some curious, many hostile, all astonished. The seat beside the Solthari queen was the second most prestigious position in the hall, traditionally reserved for the leaders of ancient allied empires. "Your Majesty, I think there's been a mistake," Alexander stammered. "I'm just—" "Know exactly who you are. Alexander Chon of Earth," Lyrastine interrupted, her grip gentle but firm. "Please, sit." His legs moved before his mind fully processed the command. As Alexander lowered himself into the seat beside her, whispers erupted throughout the hall. A Vraxian war chief 3 rows down hissed in displeasure, its 6 arms crossing in a gesture of profound insult. "You've caused quite a stir," Alexander whispered, trying not to hyperventilate. Lyrastine smiled, and Alexander understood why poets across the galaxy wrote odes to that expression. "I intend to cause far more than a stir before this summit concludes." The proceedings resumed, but Alexander couldn't focus on the Krillian speech about temporal mechanics and void stabilization. He was acutely aware of the Queen's presence beside him, of the hostile glares directed their way, of the monumental implications of this simple seating arrangement. During a brief recess, a tall figure approached Ambassador Thorn of the Kazarene hegemony, one of humanity's few established allies in the galactic community. She looked bewildered. "Chun, what in the name of Einstein's ghost is happening?" Thorn demanded in hushed English. "Do you have any idea what kind of statement the Queen just made?" "None whatsoever," Alexander admitted. Honestly, Thorn grabbed his shoulder. "By seating you beside her, she's declaring Earth a primary ally of the Solthari Empire. That's a designation reserved for civilizations at least 10,000 years old. Half the delegates here think it's an elaborate insult. The other half think she's lost her mind." Before Alexander could respond, Lyrastine returned, carrying 2 crystalline cups filled with luminescent liquid. She handed one to Alexander. "Calixian star wine," she explained. 1,500 years old. I've been saving it for a special occasion." Alexander accepted the cup with trembling hands. "Your Majesty, why are you doing this? Humanity is barely a blip on the galactic radar. We've been spacefaring for less than 2 centuries. We're primitives compared to You're survivors. Lyrastine cut him off, her expression suddenly intense. Do you know what I see when I look at humanity, Alexander? I see a species that crawled up from a gravity well with nothing but determination and curiosity. I see a people who faced extinction-level events multiple times on their homeworld and refused to die. I see the same fire that burned in the Solthery when we were young. She gestured to the assembled delegates. Most of these civilizations inherited their empires from ancient precursors or conquered their way to prominence. Humanity built everything from scratch, with no guidance, no uplifted technology, no benevolent patrons. That's rare. That's precious. Alexander felt something shift in his chest. But the void breach will require unconventional thinking to solve. Lyrastine finished. These ancient civilizations are brilliant, but they're stuck in established paradigms. They've been powerful so long, they've forgotten how to be desperate. Humanity hasn't. The second session began, and this time the topic shifted to proposed solutions. A Xantharian scientist proposed redirecting a star's energy to seal the breach, a plan that would take decades. A Vraxian suggested constructing a dimensional barrier using technologies that didn't exist yet. Then Lyrastine stood. The hall fell silent. I would like to hear from Earth's representative, she announced. Alexander's blood turned to ice. Your Majesty, I'm not a representative. I'm just a translator. You're human, Lyrastine said firmly. And right now, that's what we need. Every instinct screamed at Alexander to refuse, to defer to someone more qualified. But looking into Lyrastine's ancient eyes, he saw not just confidence in him, but desperation. The most powerful queen in the galaxy was asking no, begging for a fresh perspective. Alexander stood on shaking legs. His mind raced through everything he'd overheard, every briefing document he'd translated, every half-understood scientific paper. What if we're thinking about this wrong? He heard himself say. Everyone's trying to seal the breach or redirect it. But what if we use it? The void is consuming space-time. Yes, but it's also creating a massive gravitational anomaly. Could we use that as a slingshot? Launch a probe carrying a quantum entanglement beacon through the breach, creating a permanent link to whatever's on the other side. If we understand what's causing it, maybe we can stop it at the source. The silence that followed felt like death. An Acrylian scientist's body began pulsing with rapid light, their equivalent of excited surprise. The gravitational mathematics. By the ancients, the human might be correct. The hall erupted. Not in mockery, but in furious calculation and debate. Lyrastine placed her hand over Alexander's, her smile radiant. This, she said softly, is exactly why I chose you. Humanity's time is coming, Alexander Chun, and the galaxy needs to be ready. As Alexander sat back down, overwhelmed and exhilarated, he finally understood. This wasn't about him. It was about what he represented, a young species with nothing to lose and everything to prove. In a galaxy of ancient empires grown comfortable in their power, humanity's desperate creativity was the most valuable resource of all. The Queen hadn't made a mistake. She'd made a declaration. The age of the old guard was ending, and Earth's children would help forge whatever came next. And it had all started with a simple gesture, hand on his arm and an invitation to sit beside greatness.